off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Hawashai, Bahashem, HaKodash. I also want to give double honors to our elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone as well as peace and blessings, health and wellness to the house of David the elect. I was a high spirit with a lawyer, and today I want to go into a topic entitled America is unaliving. So I had to belch. America is unaliving us. Now, I did this topic before, but it's on me to do the topic again. America is unaliving us. I was watching a video clip on social media, and it was somebody was recording people from the 90s. So it must have been like Jake on some college campus, man. And they were all probably like 20 years old, man. And I ain't gonna lie, everybody looked like, for the most part, fit and happy, and most Keisha was small frame back in the 90s. This was only 30 years ago, but it was a different type of Jake back 30 years ago, man. 30 years ago was a different type of Jake. Everybody was skinny, you know. Everything looked more authentic. And I was looking at the comment board, and people on the comment boards was like, even the air that we breathe was different back in the 90s. And even, I'm talking to Jake in the camp, you know, brothers in the camp. It's probably like 40 years old. And it was like, because, you know, we stay down south. And it was like, man, back in the day, you could smell the pine needles. Like from the pine needles from the pine trees. Like, you know, you could taste the fruit. This is like in the 90s, man. Maybe the 80s. And people on the comment board alluding to the video, they were saying, look, the air was different back then. It like in the year 2000, a shift came, and I believe them. Now I was like 10 during the year 2000, but I believe it. It's like a shift in the world change, man. The atmosphere, like it's something about the year 2000, and it's good to speak on after the third day. But I'm saying all that to say, and then somebody else in the comment board, I don't know if they knew the people at that particular college campus, but it was like, so many of those people are not here with us today. Gone. So somebody was sitting on that, in reference to that video where everybody was in the 90s on this college campus back in the 90s. Somebody on the comment board said it's sad though, because so many of those people are not here. Like, the 90s was a different era. And I'm saying from perspective of somebody that's in their 30s, right? So imagine the 80s, 70s, 60s, you see? But every decade was like a different fucking theme in America, man. Different fucking energy in the earth. But I have reason to believe the 90s was like that last authentic era, man. You know? Like, in my opinion, a Generation Xer, Jake is like 50 years old. That's that last authentic generation. Jake is like Ice Cube's age. Even their rap was more authentic. It is like, that's that last solid generation. Because then millennials on down is really like a fucking, like Elder Ricard would say, the GMO babies, man. You know? You got Jake in there, you know, late, you know, you got early millennials in their 40s. You got some solid Jakes in their 30s, but just in general, man, millennials on down is trash, man. Motherfucker can't stay together in a relationship, motherfuckers, you know, it's all type of weird shit, man. You know? But Jake is like 45 on up. That's that last authentic generation, man. Don't get me wrong, that was under the curses. That was on their bullshit. Definitely that was on their bullshit. But it is that last organic generation, if I may, like the last authentic one. Everybody else, it seems like some GMO weird shit, man. But just watching that video from the 90s, when they was recording Jake on the college campus back in the 90s, like, Jake seemed happier. Jake wasn't on those cell phones. Jake wasn't, you know, was on this digital weird shit. Keisha out there jump roping and Jake just horse playing around on campus. Like, I've been through college campuses, man, and just Jake is in their own world, you know? Like, this computer era that we live in, this digital era, it really made people antisocial, weird, you know? Your mind is in another reality, and that reality is in your phone, man. You see, this is a bullshit, man. But how many people do you know from the 90s that's not here in 2025? And I'm not talking about your 70-year-old grandma. She was 70 30 years ago. You know? I mean, that's more realistic that she wouldn't be here by now. You know? I'm talking about people that was in their teens back in the 90s, in their 20s, now they're not here. And it's not natural because of the reason they're not here. It's not natural. It's not natural to die at 50, to die at 60, man. You get shot at 20. You get accidents, you get car accidents and shit. Motherfucker catch cancer and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not natural to look at a video footage, or even when they show like, y'all remember that video of Juvenile back that thing up like 99, 2000? And they show that they was in like, I don't know, the fucking projects. You can look at a video from 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and you can just imagine how many people are not here today, man. See, Esau is killing us environmentally. Being in America is unaliving us, man. Don't you get it? You're not supposed to die at 60, die at 50, man. Heart attack at 40. You big as fuck in your 20s. When you see a picture of your auntie, right? Your baby boomer auntie, your baby boomer uncle, that was skinny, that was lean in the 70s, in the 80s. That was lean. That was lean, man. Keisha already chubby in her 20s. Most of our uncles and auntie was skinny in their 20s. They were lean. Keisha already chubby in her 20s. Thick, plump. When Esau brought that fucking cocaine, he turned that bitch into a rock. And it's so fucking normalized that we don't know that we're like in we're in the aftermath of the crack era, man. Most Jacobs on some middle class shit before the 80s, man. That's why Memphis is raggedy and ratchet. Jackson is raggedy and ratchet, man. Chicago, Gary, Indiana. It got a fucked up side to it. And Esau, he's such a fucking evil ass genius. He made us idolize the pushers of his damn poison. Jeezy was a fucking implant. T.I. was a fucking implant. Gucci, they fucking implants. Even that nigga was really a nigga back in the day. They used them niggas, man. They're using our people to further destroy us, man. Boosie, all them niggas, man. Big Meech, you a hero? Because you sold drugs to your people? But Dr. Sebi is dead. Kevin Samuels is dead. You know? The apostles, they're after us, man. They're after us, man. They're after us, man. Our videos get taken down, but one of Esau's creatures, Lil Fugio, what the fuck his name is, he rapping over a dead nigga grave and they get millions of views, but they're constantly taking our videos down. Some bitch selling pussy on a 3.5 minute song called Gorilla Sexy Red. That's the black culture's hero. Got little 5-year-olds singing her song, and they little nigga culture heroes, man. I call it self-inflicted black genocide. It's part of the culture to get abortions. It's part of the culture to blow each other's head off, man. You're Frankenstein's little creatures, man. Little lab motherfuckers, man. If you ever watched the movie The Hills Have Eyes, right? I remember that movie. And those supposed to have been after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It's supposed to produce little weird kids. There was a byproduct of the radiation, little monster-like kids. There was a byproduct of the radiation from the atomic bombs. Well, these generations, they call them crack babies, man. You're byproducts of this GMO food. You're byproducts of the crack era. You're byproducts of broken families, man. It's the same shit. But instead of a bomb, there's a crack rock. They made us think killing each other was cool. Con, bro. These demonic ass bitches, man. And these dead, you can look a nigga in the eye and you see that dead look in his fucking eyes, man. Still be careful with them niggas, man. They got a dead, lifeless look. Be careful with that nigga, man. Be careful with that nigga, man. Watch that nigga, man. These dead, lifeless niggas, man. Keisha and Tyrone, these are America's little monsters. These little that's Frankenstein's little creature that he created in these inner city laboratories, man. The Glorillas and the NBA young boys, man. You see? But think about how many of our people died since the 90s, since the early 2000s, man. From processed food, from violence. There's two major things. From processed food, you're addicted to processed food, my nigga. One thing about processed food, there's no nutrients in it. Your life, your body is divinely engineered to extract nutrients from the food you eat. So you constantly putting substances in your body that just like drugs is designed for your brain to get hooked on it, but it doesn't have any nutrients in it. And your body, just a lot of the toxins just sit in your body, decade after decade, clogging up your arteries, man. Processed food is another fucking epidemic. The standard American diet, hey, you can ask any fucking foreigner. When they come to America, they pick up weight. See, there's nothing wrong with eating meat. There's nothing wrong with eating certain cheeses or certain breads. It is that in America, it's processed. I was talking to a guy from Lebanon. He was like, in Lebanon, if the bread lasts more than 3 days, it's no good. If it can sit on the shelf, it's no good. Real bread rocks. If you old enough, you'll know back in the day, you buy that bread, after a couple of days, that shit'll start to mold, man. Now that shit hardly molds. So you gotta buy the bread from the freezer like that Ezekiel bread. That if you leave that shit on the shelf, it'll mold, man. You're supposed to eat food that has a natural decomposition process. If food never dies, then it was never alive. So the goal is to eat food that can rot. If you buy this shit that's in a fucking cardboard box with 100,000 ingredients, look like the end of the credits, look like the credits at the end of a movie when you read the ingredients. It was never alive. And if it was never alive, it's killing you. See, just how you drop a fucking banana on the ground and there's a natural decomposition process because the organisms in the soil, the organisms and the microorganisms, they get to chewing on that motherfucker, man. And the worms and shit, like an animal dies, right? But if you put some plastic in the ground, it doesn't decompose like the microorganisms don't. They're not gonna eat that shit. If they do, it's killing them. So same thing with your body. Your body has to consume things that these bacteria in your body, this microbiome, this ecosystem of bacteria can digest, man. You see? So between fucking drugs, like you said, that you're right, bro. When cocaine came in the 80s, hey, that was one of them. That was Jake's Hiroshima Nagasaki. But he just furthered that shit. His ADHD medicine, these vaccinations that he gives little ones when they babies. Why do you think Jake has a high mortality rate? Like Jake babies have a high mortality rate in the hospital, man. Probably because he's giving them all them vaccines that he wouldn't give Edomites. Don't you understand? That Esau looks at us like animals. That he has to contain. Esau looks at the 12 tribes, Jake, Hispanic, so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, like they are a different species, man. And even for brothers, man, you know, I recommend, because sometimes you got to see a doctor and shit. You know what I'm saying? You got a job. It'd be wise to have some type of insurance. I speak as a man. But it's actually good to get a Jake this, or like find you a nurse practitioner. It could be like your private doctor, healthcare specialist. That's a Jake. You know, or Elam, or you know, Jake from, like, you know, West Africa, or, you know, even Eve, like, you know, when it comes to a nurse practitioner, somebody that knows you, like they look at you like you human. You see, a Jake that's a Jake, you know, that's a doctor, because we go to these doctors, man. You know, them being a doctor, they doctors lose empathy. After a while, they're already just paid to endorse a certain medicine. But you get, you know, a nurse practitioner, maybe they're Elam, maybe they're, you know, Jake or whatever. They're a little more interpersonal, you know. Because if you go to a doctor with no insurance, like you got no insurance and you Jake, you know, to me that's a bad move. I mean, like, it happens. You know, insurance is high as fuck. But, you know, it just, what I'm saying is, like, America experimented on us, man. Esau experimented on us, bro. He has a legacy of that shit. And if you gotta go to the doctor with no insurance, you just gotta do what you gotta do. But if you're working 9 to 5, man, you know, what you should be working. You know, you got that insurance. It's good to get like a nurse practitioner, get somebody that's kind of like interpersonal, like a go-to doctor, even if it's an Edomite, you know, a cool Edomite, whatever. But just get something that's like interpersonal, where they can talk to you on a personal level, man. You know? But outside of that, you should become your own doctor. You should be your own healthcare specialist, man. Because nobody knows your body more than you, man. But part of being your own healthcare specialist is practicing self-care and overcoming Babylon's potions, such as processed food, where it feels good to ruin yourself. So he has this shit engineered by scientists that as soon as you consume it, that processed sugar, the MSG, the high fructose corn syrup, it's designed to be concentrated. They take sugar and they concentrate it, and your brain gets excited. It gets overexcited over concentrated chemicals, concentrated elements. That's why it's high fructose corn syrup. You know, processed sugar. It's concentrated. You take what it was a part of. You separate the sugar from the fruit, right? It's a drug. You see? And when you isolate it like that, your brain gets overstimulated. So a lot of the Twinkies and the Starbursts and all that shit, well, they got gelatin in it anyway. But a lot of that shit, it's a stimulant. It overstimulates your dopamine. It's designed to get you hooked. You know? Esau put sugar inside of burgers because it's somehow sugar, man. And Jake is already a nation that loves sweets. You can't tell me I don't love sweets. If you don't love sweets, you probably like a little liquor. But most Jake loves sweets. See? Yep, that bread looks and feel like carpet, but hey, at the water for tuning in, we are, you know, getting ready to head into Pesach. I hope you brothers and sisters are, you know, cleaning your spirits up as I am. And hey, to the next time, Yahweh Bashma Shabbat Shalom Hakodash Bakatham Shalom.